Revolutions, robots, and slavery. This sounds like good ol' America. Detroit Become Human is a narrative-driven, choice-based game that takes place in the super awesome city of Detroit. In the year 2038, virtually the entire world is occupied by highly intelligent, decision-making androids. Each android has their own respective opinions, choices, and personality. However, their sense of free will is limited by their owners. Androids do things like take care of their owners, babysit, solve crimes, and that. When playing Detroit, the player takes possession of 3 different androids at the same period of time: a detective, a nanny, and a caretaker. Eventually, when playing Detroit, it's quick to realize that androids in this world aren't exactly just intelligent, they're sentient, like really sentient. Every single insult, attack, or comment humans have given to androids has been noticed. In Detroit, the main plot that takes place is the uprising of android deviants. Deviants are androids that have decided they've taken too much stress and have found a back way to escape from their rule-following base code. These deviants become borderline humans. Some deviants simply want a safe place to live under their own rule. Some want revenge, but this game really does put you into perspective of the android. If this game was taken from a human perspective, the androids would have been seen as evil. Just evil robots who became sentient and took over. However, Detroit Become Human puts you in the android's perspective to prove a point. This game is not your typical evil AI story. The story is actually really fully in the hands of the player. With a whopping 85 endings, each choice of this game is carefully selected to allow the player to drive the story however they want. When I played Detroit, I made my choices based on how I would make them in real life. There wasn't a choice that I picked that I wouldn't have done if I was in that situation, and then personally felt like this was the best way to play it. However, I recently introduced this game to my girlfriend, and it was interesting seeing how she made her choices and how she decided them. She saw each character individually and decided their choices based on what she assumed that their character would do. Although, there were some times that her personal feelings would conflict with the character choices, leading to an interesting perspective. But both playstyles are technically right. Detroit is not exactly a game about certain character or moral or ideology, but a game about perspective. When fully immersed into the world of Detroit, it is shown that the uprising of an android revolution has split the world in half. Some of the public is supportive, some hate androids, and some are just too messed up to care. One of the 3 main characters, and a personal favorite of mine, is Connor. Without getting into too much spoiler territory, Connor is an android who hunts deviant androids. Off the top, this already seems like a difficult situation. An android who's programmed to design to kill his own kind. Now, as the player, you always have the choice to follow through with your mission or to submit to your emotions and spare the lives of androids. Connor is put into an interesting state of mind because, as a sentient android, he subconsciously knows that what he's doing is wrong, like pretty bad. There are multiple times in this game where Connor has an opportunity to kill an android, save an android, maybe not talk about his feelings, talk about his feelings, and it's an interesting perspective because does he choose to keep his silence about what's going on? Or does he just go through with his mission because that's what he's supposed to do? Another android that is introduced in the beginning of the story is Kara. Kara is a nanny for a daughter of this man named Todd. Todd is a very, very bad person. This dude is straight up evil. Now, Kara, seeing all of the abuse and torture that Todd does to both Kara and his daughter, she has the opportunity to really say something or do something, but she also has the opportunity to not. A reminder that Kara is programmed to listen to and follow the rules of Todd, no matter what he says. So if he's hurting somebody and he tells Kara to sit still, then that's what she will do. But is it her choice to break free from her coding, to break free from what she does every single day? Should Kara really interfere with what Todd does, or should she just sit still and, follow her coding? A good question to ask yourself when playing this game is, do the lives of these androids matter? Are they worth saving? Do they count as people? These questions are ultimately up to the player to decide. When I had first finished Detroit, I personally had connected the main points of this game: racism and technology. In Detroit, it is kind of obvious that this game is trying to be a slight metaphor for racism and slavery. Androids are enslaved, they learn to break free, they use underground routes and suffer indifferences, eventually fight their way to freedom, start private revolutions. I don't know, if you ask me, it sounds pretty similar to something that's happened before. However, I think the main part about Detroit that a lot of people do miss is the connection to AI in general and why it's extremely relevant as of today. Right now in 2024, we have a chat and audio based AI systems that are capable of generating responses and completing tasks based on a human input. If these AI systems were to suddenly become sentient and gain full free will, would it be acceptable? I mean, humans have researched and dumped millions of dollars on AI equipment, so wouldn't it be the end goal to have these intelligent computers experience full autonomy? Detroit shares an interesting opinion on life and creation as a whole. AI did not ask to be brought into life, and neither did humans. If something can make choices, conversate, and think, then when does that something become a someone? This is constantly brought up in the game. Even the character from the main menu asks you these philosophical questions about characters that you made choices on. There are even surveys in-game that ask you these questions that you can take a part of. Like I said earlier, it's super interesting seeing how different people play this game. When I played this game, I thought of it as androids should be free. They should experience a revolution. they should be able to walk around, roam the cities, because, you know, now that they're sentient and they understand how life works, they should be able to experience it. But I've seen other people play this game and they think, oh, they're just robots. They're just, you know, they're breaking their rules. Again, this game has 85 endings, so there really is no true answer. If you think that the androids are, you know, just robots that broke their rules, then that's what you think. If you think these robots should be able to go free and live lives and work jobs, then that's what you think. There's so many different ways that this game plays out, and without spoiling it, it really does make a lot of sense. Getting to a revolution in this game specifically leads to a lot of character deaths, but it ends up being worth it in the end, or sometimes not. You could stay quiet as a character and kind of just create this silent revolution, or just say not anything at all. And I do think the best part about this game is its human interactions. This game isn't just about androids, but about how humans react with them as well. There are some characters in this game that absolutely despise androids. However, there are some other characters that are in full support of androids, which also leads to another interesting dilemma. Do all humans deserve to be destroyed because of what they did to androids, or were they just oblivious to what was happening? Maybe some humans should be spared in light of a revolution, and, you know, because maybe they were just nice, maybe they were good people. But overall, this game really is just about perspective. The whole point of androids in this game is to represent a minority or an indifference in society. There's nothing truly different about androids than humans, except for the fact that they were just enslaved and they were made out of machine. It's the fact that you're putting a name to a face that creates this really interesting story and kind of just divides the entire player base. As cool and as interesting as this game gets, it really is just disguised politics. Some people fully agree that, you know, if you're not human, if you're not the same as everybody else, you don't get to live with everyone else. Some people think if you live, if you breathe, if you're just a nice person, then you get to experience everything. And this game really does kind of push that to a lot of people without them knowing. And I feel like this topic and game just gets more and more important as we push forward. Obviously, there's a lot of political indifference going on right now, which personally, I don't care about too much. You know, I kind of have to care a little bit, but not too much. And then also the fact of AI, you know, what if we do have AI models in the future that can talk to us, you know, make their own thoughts? How would that look? How would we interact with them? Would they be the same? Would they be just like in this game, start a revolution? Maybe they're not that smart. Who knows? Either way, Detroit is a game about equality, revenge, fairness, practically whatever you want to make it. All I know is that it's worth playing. I highly recommend that you go play Detroit and play the game thoroughly. Every day we get closer to complete technological autonomy, I think more and more about this game. It's always interesting to see what people make of this game and what choices people decide are fair for different characters. I don't think the future is going to be some, you know, crazy Terminator cyberpunk level of futuristic stuff, or, you know, Blade Runner. I do think that in the future we're going to get some crazy AI stuff, and, you know, everyone should play this game at least to prep themselves mentally. That's all I gotta say.